All right, where's Mitch McConnell? This was trending on Twitter. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez started the hashtag. She was hunting down Mitch McConnell because, you know what? We're ready to open the government. Mitch McConnell right now is the one holding things up. There have been packages that have passed through the House. They were sent over to the Senate. The Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, is refusing to allow the Senate to vote on them. So what could happen is the Senate could vote. They could all agree by a vast majority, and they can actually override President Trump, but they're choosing not to. Mitch McConnell doesn't even want to go down that road. So where was Mitch? Well, he was found. He was found writing some other legislation. He was trying to make the Hyde Amendment permanent. So if you don't know what the Hyde Amendment is, it's an amendment that has been passed annually year after year since the 70s, and it basically prevents Medicaid dollars for abortion services other than rape, incest, or the mother's life is in danger. So it's a nod to pro-lifers. They really like the Hyde Amendment. Hillary Clinton ran on the campaign in 2016 that she would repeal the Hyde Amendment. It is something that pro-choicers do not want at all. And Mitch McConnell went around trying to make it permanent rather than an annual needing to be voted on amendment. He wanted to make it permanent. So that doesn't have any chance, by the way, because if he tries and he gets it past the Senate, which he won't because they need a 60. In fact, they voted on it. And
yeah, it already failed.
It already failed, yeah, because you need to have 60 senators who are going to vote yes on that. And they don't have that many in the Senate who are pro-life. They have maybe 50, maybe a little less than that. So it failed. But, you know, what is this guy doing? He's not doing anything. He's just sitting around not wanting to present anything to the Senate to reopen the government because he wants to remain Trump's guy. I think that's what he's doing. I think at this point, a lot of the senators would be really interested in reopening the government because so many people are suffering. In fact, Kraft Foods, I mean, this is how bad it is. Kraft Foods is setting up they have already set up a pop-up shop in D.C. so that federal employees could go and get food for their children. This is how bad it is. Kraft Foods had to set up a pop-up shop and say, you know what, come feed your kids because you don't have any money. So come get them some mac and cheese, at least. You know, this is absolutely crazy. Thank goodness Kraft Foods is doing that. What they've asked of these employees is just to pay it forward once they get their checks, to donate to their favorite charities, pay it forward. They are going to be getting their back pay. Trump did sign into law a guarantee that they will get their money back as soon as the government reopens. We don't know when the government's going to reopen, but they will at least get their money. And it's only going to take about 2 or 3 days after the government reopens for them to get their checks. They're not going to have to wait till the next billing cycle. They can get their money pretty much right away. This somewhat helps them if you're a federal employee and you've got a resource for where you can borrow some money. So maybe you're a member of a credit union, and in which case you can plead to your bank and say, can you give me a loan to get me through until the federal shutdown ends? You know how much my paycheck is. So if you could just kind of continue me through. And some of the credit unions, I know in previous shutdowns had done that. So I'm hoping that some are doing that now, you know, helping these families stay afloat and just continuing to deposit the money in their bank accounts, knowing that they'll get all of that back once the federal government deposits the money into their accounts. So that's possible. Maybe if you've got a family member or somebody else that you can borrow money from and say, hey, listen, I've got a guaranteed check that's on its way as soon as the government reopens. The problem is they don't know how long this is going to reopen. And what if you don't have either of those resources? I mean, then what are you supposed to do? And you have no idea when this shutdown is going to end. So, you know, these guys just really need to get their act together. And, you know, Nancy Pelosi told Trump, we're not going to do the State of the Union address because the security concerns, which is legitimate. These people would be showing up for a job they're not getting paid for. So we'd be, asking them for slave labor, essentially, to host an event where all these people show up in their $1,000 outfits and stand there and clap and hear somebody talk about how great the nation is. And meanwhile, the security people that are supposed to be keeping them safe, all of these people inside this building, and they'd all be there at the same place at the same time, wouldn't be getting paid. And they're sitting there scratching their heads like, really? Are we really doing all that great? Because I don't know how I'm going to feed my kids except going to this pop-up shop and giving them some mac and cheese. So, she's put the stop on the State of the Union address. In retaliation, Trump has banned her from well, not really banned her, but basically took away the military plane, the government planes for Nancy Pelosi to travel. She was planned on leaving today. She was going on a 7-day trip to Brussels, to Egypt, and to Afghanistan. And Trump released a letter saying, or she was supposed to go yesterday, right? Trump released a letter yesterday saying that she is not going to be using any federal money for that. So if she wants to take a commercial flight, she can do that, but she's not going to be taking a military plane, which he has all the power to do that because he is the commander-in-chief of military, so he's allowed to decide who gets what. And personally, I think none of them should be going anywhere. So, I think these guys need to sit in a room and stare at one another until they come to an agreement or get this shutdown. They need to end the shutdown. So, I think no State of the Union sounds fair to me. And sure, don't go anywhere sounds fair to me. I mean, you guys need to work this out because this is the real lives are affected.